An air studio with a transmitter as powerful as a hairdryer. Hey, we got it on high. This is Live 95, Coleman's independent radio. WRJM-LP, Coleman, Alabama.
And go ahead and cue the timpani. And go ahead and cue the elephants. Welcome back, guys. Sorry I had to take a week off last week. Things happen.
Well, we remembered how to get here.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Howard Rogers here on the Elephant in the Room
And
with
I'm Richard Morris.
Hi, Beverly Little.
And Beverly, would you introduce our guest?
I would. I am pleased, or I guess proud to introduce Brad Williams. He is from the Victim Services from the DA's office. So welcome.
Good to be here.
Good. So tell us what your office does and what it's all about.
Well, first of all, thank you all for having me, and thank you for letting me come in and talk about the District Attorney's Office and what all we do at the District Attorney's Office. But first of all, again, my name's Bradley Williams. I'm the Victim Service Officer at the District Attorney's Office. But the main thing that I do personally at the DA's office is I'm the Victim Service Officer, as you mentioned, and I help victims in a range of cases. It can be from a murder, a rape, domestic violence case, burglary, theft, and that can be walking them through the legal process of the case when it comes to, like I said, murder, all the way to a theft or a burglary, of getting restitution in all those cases, understanding the legal process of a felony case versus if it's in circuit court to if it's in district court. I help them, know the court dates. They got any questions, talk to attorneys, set up the meetings with all the DA or the assistant district attorneys and about if they have to testify, if they would rather not testify, and, work the case out in other ways. So if they're just looking for restitution or other remedies to their case. So we really, work with them on that. And
Are y'all involved, like, pretty much from the initial law enforcement response, or is it y'all come in 2 or 3 days later, or how quickly do y'all get involved?
It can be, in the very beginning, if it is a prime example is the picture in our book that I gave out that has Mr. or Colonel Glenn Gilden there. That is a example of we were involved very early in that because obviously. That picture shows me and District Attorney Champ Crocker visiting him in the hospital. So that is where the illegal immigrant, robbed him, and from the, about the in that case, and we went to visit him, and his charges are that suspect's charged with attempted murder.
That case actually came up today because my wife and I did a Facebook Marketplace transaction. Fortunately, I knew the seller personally. But and I was I remembered that case vividly.
Right, and so that suspect is charged with attempted murder, robbery, and theft of property first. And so that is an example of the DA and I being involved very, very early in a case. And sometimes, we may be involved later in the legal process once that an arrest is made or once the grand jury has a true bill to case, which means they have an indictment has been made, and then the victims are sent to me. The Coleman County Sheriff's Office has Captain Ed Potter, who I worked with when I was at the sheriff. Great guy, and I've tried to learn a lot from him. But he works with victims pre indictment or arrest, and works with them through that process. And then, I take over once it's in the DA's office and talk to them. And again, sometimes he and I talk, if it's something that me and him can work together on, or if it's an ongoing situation, he and I talk. So we work together.
Now, do you call him Dr. Captain or Captain Doctor?
Just whatever he wants me to, I will. So.
And so you have a Crime Victims Bill of Rights.
That's right. It's codified by law in Alabama. So that is a book that you have over there. Obviously, we're not on TV, so people can't see it. But I give that out to if victims would like that. It goes through all of the the codes and that the victims should know about, and which we give them all the information that they would like, right. And I keep them updated. Obviously, I'm one person and we have thousands of cases up there, so I tell every victim I'm doing my best to let you know in a timely manner, and we're going through everything, but I always tell them, hey, call me if you got a question, send me an email anytime, that you have questions. But what that does is goes through exactly what their rights as a victim is. And a lot of times that is, if there is a guilty verdict in a case, a plea in a case, that victims have the right to, this is just one example in there, is that they have a right to do a victim impact statement in that case. So I tell them that, we help them with that. They can say anything they want to after, a guilty plea, so that or a verdict of guilty by a jury. Right. So we go through that, and that's just one example of many things that's in there. And
you may not know the answer because it may be hard to extrapolate, but of your cases, what percentage would you say are the result of domestic violence?
I don't have that figure in front of me, but obviously a lot of things come from domestic violence. I mean, it's just like in my experience in law enforcement, still there's a lot of thefts and burglaries become because of drug. People are on drugs, or they're breaking into the house to get something to sell for the drugs. So I think that it's probably a good percentage, but I don't know if it's 10% or 40%.
Is there any cost for any of these services?
No. There's now obviously when I gave you a sheet over there on victims services, we send people there. I believe everything they have there is free as far as I know, and they offer counseling. I do send people. Some victims want other counseling, and I give them cards for other counseling services, and some of those could be a charge and some don't. But obviously, if there is, I tell them keep your receipts, keep when you do that, keep anything like that, medical records if their insurance doesn't pay for it. And we obviously, if it's still a case that obviously people can seek counseling for years and all, but we put that in part of the restitution that we seek.
So that's one of the things that the restitution money goes to.
Yes, sir. Is that restitution can be for any medical that the person has had to get, or anything like that, whether counseling or if they were an assault case and they've had to be out of pocket for that. I've had a case like that I've had.
Off work.
Yeah, if you had to be off work because of the assault or something like that, then that's also part of it. So that we might try to get the victims to they're made whole.
Because that's been one of the things that I've kind of worried about or wondered about. Yeah. That's probably a better thing. Wondered about in the past is how do they get recompense for all the issues that come from that? Right.
Well, obviously that we try to work it out. If there is and again we work in any plea. If there is a settlement in the case, they call it a plea. If there's a settlement in the case, that we always talk to the victim, and I say me, the DA, Champ Crocker, or one of the assistant district attorneys go to the victim and work. And again, sometimes they are just looking for restitution. If it's if it was a burglary or a theft, and they say, hey, if I can get my door fixed, if I can get X, Y, or Z, I would really like, just the money I was out, or, whatever that property was restored, I can get the property back. So they're looking for that to be made whole that way.
Okay.
And so that the DA or the ADAs work with the defense attorneys to, get restitution, through that. And, and we try a lot of times to try to get as much of that restitution up front as possible. So that's another reason is those figures show that our restitution is as much as it is, because that they try to get as much of that up front. We had one the pictures in there with Randy Childers. I don't know if you know Randy Childers, but somebody stole one of his work trailers, and we had
I remember that.
And and we had he was made completely whole, and he was fine. Wow. Got that complete amount of restitution up front. So he said, "Well, if that's the case, we can work out he told the district attorney to work out something on the case. I think the guy, paid the restitution, in full. So that's
in his best interest to do that.
Right.
And
yeah.
I'm sure it also had an effect on the outcome of the trial.
Right.
It could have.
It could have. That's right. Yeah. So
it would seem, though, from just looking at the cases, that most of the people that are stealing or burglarizing or whatever, in all probability, don't have the funds to come right to the trial with the restitution.
Yeah, sometimes, I don't have, facts and figures, and stuff, but, I can only say that we, on our end, try to say that, for our victims, they try to get as much, if the victim wants that, if justice to them is being made whole, is paying for, that window that was knocked out of their car while or if it was, made whole by, hey, if they'll fix my door, if they do X, Y, or Z, paying this restitution, if they say, hey, if they will do that, and then I relay that to the DA or the ADA on that case or whatever it may be. But, sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes they want the person to be prosecuted, if that's the case.
Pound of flesh.
Right, and that's their right to do that. And then some are, and there's other circumstances, obviously. If that's the offender's first time, then that makes a difference to the district attorney or the assistant DA. But if that's their 20th time, then,
And was there malice aforethought?
Right, and if they're a career criminal, then that that obviously, that's a little bit different circumstance than if it's a, 20-year-old that's their first time or something, so that they look at all of that in the totality.
So things have probably gotten a lot busier with the population in Coleman County growing.
Well, I know that we stay very busy, and I do know that the DA and the assistant DAs, I stay busy. They are very busy, and I'm talking to victims, and they'll say, well, they're indicted. Was my case, going to be, next month, and I have to, again, part of the legal process is explaining that, a lot of times it's set on a trial docket, but that there will be hundreds or thousands of cases on that trial docket, and then there may be a pre-trial docket where those hundreds get whittled down to 20 or 30, because there's several reasons why a case may not be ready early. Obviously, there could be a defense attorney starts, they get another attorney, or there's an appointed attorney, and then they go hire attorney, or whatever reason, discovery issues, or somebody gets sick and it has to be moved. So there's several reasons of and the complexity of the case. I'll say I'm not an attorney. I'm a law enforcement officer and the victim service officer. So again, the attorney would have to explain more of that. But I'm just saying that I try to explain to the victims. There's many reasons, but the DA and the ADA, we care very much about prosecuting their case, getting justice, and that we do everything that we can. And it shows by, again, that we've cleared for just in 2024 over 10,000 cases, 10,076 cases to be exact. So again, COVID obviously had a lot to do with the backlog up there, but they are working. The DA and the staff up there are really, it's not just the lawyers and the assistant DA or the DA. It's all the staff in that DA's office goes to work every day, and they're up there, before 7 a.m. and a lot of times after 5 o'clock, working to make sure, and then on the weekends to make sure that those cases that working for the victims are working, to get.
You cleared almost 1,000 cases a month.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
That's a number. And I know Champ. I knew him before he was in that office when he was a practicing attorney, and he has always been meticulous in preparation for the cases that he had. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that the DA's office reflects that.
Right. Well, I'm not going to get into trial strategy. There might be a defense lawyer listening on here, so I know that. Yeah, there's nobody. There. Everybody up there is very, very hard. Work, and they go into it. But when, like you said, mentioning that, the overall clearance rate of all the cases was 104%. And that was that's including traffic, circuit court, and district court. of this whole year, and that's in our annual report for this year that I gave you. So, and any citizen that wants that book can come by their office. We take them around to a lot of meetings that we go to and stuff, but any citizen that wants that can come get it. We have that as a service to the citizens so that they can see what's going on, what we're doing. And, obviously, the one that, is traffic is at 92%, and that is mainly because of the interstate in Coleman County. The state troopers give out so many tickets on that, and again, right here, it's almost 7,000 tickets, and we cleared 6,475. So, that they and it can be a DUI and other things in that, but that is a lot of, and it's mainly we have an interstate where, if you were in Winston County or something, they don't have that much. So that, but and then of course circuit court was 121%, and district court was 137% clearance rate. So you're clearing above the cases. You're clearing more than you're getting because of the older cases or something. So that's why there's a higher than 100%, obviously. So that
and over $3 million in child support.
Right, yeah, child support again. I'll be honest. I don't do a lot of handle unless I'm out serving subpoena or something like that with child support. Lisa Dorning in our office handles child support, and the lawyers handle that and do a great job doing that. But that's collect child support, and they do a lot of good work on doing. If you ought, I don't have I can get on a soapbox, but I don't have sympathy for people that don't help children. I don't have much sympathy if you don't if you harm a child. That's one thing we take seriously is any cases when it deals with children. If you're harming a child,
you ought to hurt.
Yes, that's a
in every way possible.
They can't defend themselves.
No, that's right, and so that's we don't have much sympathy on that.
So when do they find out about victim services? Because I know a lot of people in Coleman County, because I mentioned to a couple of people and they, they weren't aware of it. And at what point do you let people know, hey, we're here for you, we'll do what we can?
Right. So they can do that again by the sheriff's office. Captain Potter, if it's a sheriff's office case, I don't believe the Coleman Police Department has a victim service officer that I'm aware of, and they don't have to. It's not only we're mandated by law to have the I believe that's right, or we have to have the DA does. But this little card I brought you out here is what a lot of the law enforcement gives if it's a victim case. So a lot of them give that, but again, some of the deputies or officers may forget to give that on a victim case. It's not mandatory they do that, but we provide it to them if they do that. But also, again, what I was going with Captain Potter is a lot of times that he will call on the front end to say if he's going through cases. He really does it on domestic violence cases to say I've seen this has happened, and hits them on the front end, blah blah blah, and then I call on the docket when we have a district court docket. I try to make contact with every victim that's coming up and say, hey, this and of course circuit court. I'll get into that in a minute, but in district court, Champ has me call through the docket on there. So in any case with a victim, if it is possible to find a phone number, and some people change numbers, can't get them, they don't answer the phone, I leave a message. So, but we try to make contact with any case, so especially domestic violence cases, and it can be everything from a domestic violence, to a harassment to, we have a lot of animals running at large where, two neighbors and the animals going, over there. And I make every effort, we make every effort if it's if that individual has went up there to get the warrant themselves. Sometimes the animal controls, they do the tickets, and it's hard to find a contact number doing it that way. But we do every effort, trying to get in contact with those victims, because the court, they're not notified when there's a call docket. They don't get anything in the mail when there's a call docket. And that call docket's a call and settlement docket, and this is getting into the weeds of the legal. And that's why I call them and I say that, hey, if you can come, you may get your case worked out, or what are you wanting, what are you, out of this? And, and then and then if something can't get worked out, they move it on a trial docket, and that's when they get subpoenaed to show up in district court. And in circuit court, what happens is I send a letter. So as soon as it is, as soon as they are indicted, that I send a letter to the victim, and we can get in. I've had victims say I didn't get it in the mail, and somehow we can get into the postal service but I send a letter and it explains the charges that the defendant was charged with, what happened, and I send them a restitution form if they have restitution to send back to me, and then explains, and it has a lot of other things that explains in that letter, and how to get in contact with me, and that they need to get in contact with me. And again, sometimes though, and if I hadn't heard from them in so long, I try to contact them if that number's good or not. So yeah.
What is the difference in circuit court and district court?
Well, that could take a while, but
short answer.
That could take a while, but a lot of times it's depending on the crime you're charged with. So the easiest answer is a felony is in circuit court, and a misdemeanor is in district court. So if it's a misdemeanor, it is going to be in district court. This is the simplest way, and there are felony district court, but that's getting into the weeds. But yeah, is that if it's a felony, generally it will be in circuit court. I mean, it starts out in district court, and that's getting in the weeds of it. But a misdemeanor is in district court, and a felony, murder, is a prime example. That's going to be.
If it happens in Coleman County, it will be tried in.
Generally, there again, we're getting into some legal stuff, but yes, that is generally almost always the case, and some lawyers can ask for a change of venue if it's highly publicized and stuff like that. But that is generally always the case.
If they're arrested by a city police officer, it's still going to be tried in that court, because city court is basically.
Well, it depends. Yeah, I'll give you it depends. If it is a misdemeanor, if they are arrested for a misdemeanor, that will be in city court.
If it was in the city of Coleman.
In the city of Coleman. Now, if you're arrested for a misdemeanor by a city police officer, by the Coleman Police Department, that will be in the municipal court of the city of Coleman. Yeah. Okay. However, obviously, if it's a felony, the city police department, that would be, if it's a victim crime, then they would hear from me, and then that would come through the district attorney's office and go to circuit court. Great. That's right.
Well, I have a question. What if someone at the time said, no, I don't want your services, I don't want anything to do with you, but then they changed their mind later?
That's fine. As I always tell, I can have as much contact as you like, or I can have as little amount of contact as you like. I haven't run into that yet, obviously, so that we, so far, so good, but, obviously, if they just said, Brad, I don't like you for some reason, then I would say, hey, do you want somebody in the other office from the office talk to you, or if it just whatever. But they don't have to talk to us for any reason. But
can they come back to you at a later date?
I don't. If somebody said, but then come back and said I changed my mind. Right. That's right.
Okay. You're not trying to drum up business.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I don't.
Plenty. It sounds.
Yeah, I'm not a car salesman. I don't get paid off commission.
It sounds like you stay awfully busy.
Oh, I've said there could be 3 or 4 of me. I don't say that because I'm saying is that
facts are facts.
Yeah, is that and I don't think any district attorney in Alabama would say that they couldn't need more people to work for them. Obviously,
right?
Because there's always stuff there. Because again, like you're saying, is we handle child support, and they do a lot of stuff over there. But
how you cleared 10,000 cases in. My best count is you've got the DA and 4 attorneys.
Right. As I believe that there's 5 attorneys in the office. That's right. The district attorney and 4. And again, there could be more of them. It's all about money and how much money is that there, and they have 2 judicial assistants, JAs. And that's 2 for and that shows you. So again, we're lean over there. We're trying to do the best, with the tax money, and so that we're not bloated or anything like that. There's none of that going on. We're doing what we can, but and that's why I tell victims, hey, I'm not, not just calling you for a reason. Some of them say, I hadn't heard from you, and I was just, so busy. I say, anytime you call or email me, I'm going to get back with you. Mm-hmm. It's just, when you have thousands, if I was just on the phone calling every case, it would be impossible.
Bet you didn't send them a Christmas card.
That's right. Yeah, we're doing everything we can to get them. Yeah.
If you have a question,
I have a question. All right. So if I disagree with the officer who pulled me over, and I'm clearly the victim, can you help me?
I guess so. I mean, you can always come up there and talk to me. So, but if you was arrested on that, I don't know if that's that might be the defendant though.
If you have a question you'd like to ask, we can be reached at 256-737-9505. And bear in mind, be nice or be cut off.
Yeah. just like the frequency. And I'll go ahead and tell everybody, since I didn't get a chance to last week, although we were recorded last week, so maybe I did. This show's available in podcast format as well, or you can catch it on the Facebook Live feed on the Coleman's Live 95 page. You can also go to live95coleman.com, click on demand, and almost all of our shows are linked to the various podcast platforms, so you can go subscribe, like, whatever, that way. All the social media stuff, and good opportunity, I think, to take a break. So we'll be back with more of The Elephant in the Room here in just a minute or two. Stay tuned.
Are you looking for a reliable ride at the lowest prices in town with financing? PNC Auto has you covered. Finance options for all credit types, good, bad, or ugly. Plus, a free vehicle report is available for each listing. You can get pre-qualified today online at mypcauto.com. And they offer a free 90-day powertrain warranty or free maintenance for a year. No, we're not kidding. Chad Johnson and Paul Carpenter are ready to help you drive away happy today. Chad is available at 256-493-2491. Or Paul can be reached at 256-339-9932. PNC Auto on Highway 278 just past the Methodist Church, or online at mypcauto.com.
Coleman Electric Cooperative's mission is to make life better in the communities we serve. That starts by providing reliable, affordable electricity, while our Sprout Fiber Internet service delivers blazing fast broadband internet to homes, schools, and businesses. Coleman Electric Cooperative is a proud supporter of student athletes, cheerleaders, and band members who work hard every day to make their families and community proud. Coleman Electric Cooperative and Sprout Fiber Internet, powerful connections, brighter future.
Get ready, Coleman. It's time for a fun night out benefiting an important cause. May the 8th at the venue at Cotton Creek, it's Clothed in Coleman, an event benefiting Kurt's Closet, our local nonprofit that provides clothes for kids in need. Doors open at 5:30, and you can enjoy a delicious dinner and exciting live and silent auction, all while making a difference in your community. Tickets are just $60 per person, or you can reserve an entire table for $600. They can be purchased at kurtzcloset.org. This is Tommy. I'll be emceeing the event again this year. We're going to have a lot of fun at Clothed in Coleman, May the 8th at the venue at Cotton Creek. Tickets are limited, so you can get yours today at kurtzcloset.org. When it comes to securing a home loan, you want someone who knows the ropes and can guide you every step of the way. That's where Josh Phillips of Maven Mortgage comes in.
I'm Josh Phillips with Maven Mortgage Group. You can reach me at 256-338-2920. And whether it's your first time buying a home or your fifth time, we would love the opportunity to serve you and your family in all your home financing needs.
Josh Phillips and Maven Mortgage. Their name says it all. Experience you can trust, knowledge that works for you. With one phone call, you can take the next step toward your dream home with Josh Phillips of Maven Mortgage. Your home, your future. Josh Phillips at Maven Mortgage. 256-338-2920. 256-338-2920. NMLS number 338177.
And welcome back to the Elephant in the Room, and our resident meteorologist is available. Gentlemen.
Izzy, the meteorologist, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all today?
If we felt any better, they would probably lock us up for something.
Hey, Izzy.
Hey,
I know that's how I've been. That's how I've been feeling too with this weather this week. It's been beautiful.
It's a beautiful day.
But it's been a welcome change.
But tell me, how's it going to be for the weekend for Coleman County?
Well, so it's not going to be much different. So this weekend, we're actually not experiencing any severe weather.
Hallelujah.
We're not expecting.
You're doing
not
good.
expecting any severe weather.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely something
Now,
to cheer about.
Did we all hear that? We're not expecting. What does that mean?
Get ready for a tornado.
No, so this weekend is actually going to be pretty similar to this week, except for one thing. Starting really tonight, later in the night, we're going to see some clouds start rolling in, and that is going to persist really kind of throughout all of next week as well. So it is going to be quite cloudy, so I hope y'all have enjoyed the sunshine. But as far as temperatures are going to be pretty similar to what we have been experiencing this past week. They're going to be in the upper 70s into the lower 80s. Nothing record-breaking this week, but I will say these temperatures are above average for this time of year, so I thought that was interesting.
Yes.
It will be a bit windy this weekend, so winds are going to be about 10 to 15 miles per hour the whole weekend, but it will be gusting into the 20 mile per hour range. So if you have any activities outside, I would just make a note to be aware of that. You might not want to wear a hat.
Unless you want to chase it.
Yeah.
So should I find some way to fix my hat on my head so the sun doesn't blister my bald spot?
Yes.
Super glue.
Well, actually, so with overcast skies, there is actually a higher risk for sunburn.
Okay,
it is actually easier to get a sunburn.
Explain that to me.
Explain it?
Yeah.
So
Why?
essentially what happens
Yeah.
is the sun will come through some of the clouds, and that's why it's still light outside and we can still see.
Yeah.
But what happens to make the sunburn and the risk for sunburn worse is, or the risk of sunburn worse, is that all that light that is making its way through the clouds and not being reflected is being reflected back off of the clouds. So it's kind of like the light is hitting your skin twice, but it's not as extreme as when it comes directly from the sun, of course.
But it just keeps going.
Well, but I also thought that some of the wavelengths of light pass through the clouds easier than the others. But I don't know. I think that's true.
Pass through them easier, you said?
Yeah.
So that's not
Ultraviolet.
technically wrong. It's actually because the angle of the sun is more directly above us. So you're not technically wrong. It is easier for the sun, or I guess easier isn't the word, but maybe the sun is more full force.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It's hotter.
Well, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's hotter. It's hotter.
That's why we like springtime out.
Yeah, that's why
It's
we like
not
springtime.
winter.
So what should I do? Just get some suntan stuff and put it on my head?
Yes, definitely. You'll want to have the sunscreen, but you'll want to have sunscreen anytime the sun is out.
Really?
Duct tape, Howard. Duct tape.
There you go.
Yeah.
That'll do it. The wind won't blow it off.
Any words of wisdom for us?
Really, aside from not much active weather this weekend, there is going to be a 70% chance of rain Sunday.
Ooh.
Or not Sunday. Your Easter weekend will be all right.
Okay.
The rain is not going to hit us until Monday. That's
Okay.
what I meant to say.
Well, I don't know that I've ever seen an Easter that didn't have some kind of weather.
Yeah. Or cold.
Yeah, cold or wet or
Yeah,
whatever.
Right.
That's true.
Well, keep us posted. If anything comes up you think we should know, slap it on the weather report.
Absolutely, I will. And actually, I did want to note, coming in the next few weeks, these above average temperatures are going to persist. So as we get closer to summer and as the sun angle increases, like you said, we are going to have some higher temperatures. And with that above average expectation, just be aware of the risk of heat exhaustion with that. Not so much right now. Our humidity and our temperatures are low enough, but just wanted to note that as we get to those warmer months of the year.
Always good information.
Yeah.
We appreciate you dropping by.
I appreciate calling in.
Hi, thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Y'all too.
Right, bye.
All right, we are here with Bradley Williams, and
I got a question.
Fire away.
Y'all really responsible for getting all those kids in school?
That's right. That's part of what we're responsible for.
So what's the Helping Families Initiative?
Well, I'll do my best on that. The Helping Families Initiative is a partnership with through the district attorney's office, so that we have, and it's Courtney Myricks that leads that in the office, and so basically that is to try to any students in the Coleman City or Coleman County school system that's having attendance issues. We work with them to see what the issue is, and is, some examples that I know of is, one child, wasn't going to school because said they didn't have glasses, they couldn't see. So we raise money through this initiative to try to help those children that have issues. So we've gotten people glasses, clothes. Like some people didn't have shoes to wear. So it's all about making sure kids are in school and where they need to be, and so we try to see what that problem is. If it's behavioral or something, we work with that and try to see if there's some counseling or other stuff that's available. But if it's other issues, that we can help with, that's why we raise money to see that. And all that money literally goes to trying to get them, if there's some help, whether it is glasses, it can be braces, it can be just getting them clothes, it can be some other issues, to make sure they're in school.
It's amazing, I think, how many times that occurs in Coleman County. It's just a shame to go to school because they don't have the same shoes that Johnny has or whatever.
And not everybody's going to have those Air Jordans or their equivalent today.
Yeah.
No, well, like I told my grandson, he's talking about that, and I said, well, at least you got shoes. I went to school a lot of days without shoes in the summertime. Long about middle of March, 1st of April, we had to put our shoes away for the winter.
And I think I can speak for myself, but in a lot of I'm very thankful that I get to go home and I have food that I can eat, and I can stop at a restaurant if I want to, and I've got water and the shower, the lights are on, and it breaks my heart, really, that
and so many of these kids would eat anything, and we have to have something specific.
And I was actually at a school, I won't say where, but Courtney and I were at a school the other day, this week, and there was a student there that hadn't eaten that morning. I don't think they ate that the night before. The other meal was, at school. I think they're probably their only meal they're getting was at school. And I said, hey, if he doesn't have money, I'll pay for it. And they said, well, it's free. We're going to make sure he eats. So I was, it's heartbreaking, really. I mean, it's no child should ever have that issue, and that's a lot of what this is about, is to make sure that they have a if it's clothes, food, I mean anything like that, we're trying to make sure that they're in school learning, because those people could be a next surgeon, or lawyer, could be the next DA in there, so again, we want to make sure that there's no issue there. So that's what all that money's raised there.
I was reading something on Facebook, don't know who did it, wouldn't mention name if I did, but said, okay, you're paying for the drink or the whatever for the car behind you. Why don't you go by your child's school and pay for somebody's lunch?
Absolutely.
Well, that's a good idea.
Absolutely.
Go by the school, pay for a lunch. But why is that not factored in? How much would it be to provide lunches for elementary school.
Right.
Least.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not inexpensive anymore.
No, it's not.
When I was in school back before the turn of the century, long time before that, I think it was a quarter for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I think mine was $2 or something.
I started school at West Point in 1949.
Oh.
I got $1 on Monday. 25 cents of that was an allowance, and 15 cents a day was food.
Yeah, and I will say if there's anybody out there listening or anybody that wants to, contribute in any way to that, again, all that money goes to those children. They can call our office or come by and say, hey, here's we're going to be doing a little auction later. I think maybe next month that we're getting some stuff and we're going to put an online auction. Again, all that money is going toward that initiative.
And that's the Helping Families
that Families Initiative, which is through the DA's office.
Yeah, keep that in mind.
Right.
And
Remind us, send her, or come back and
Right.
say, hey, I
Right.
need about 5
That's
minutes
right.
on your show.
I will. We will. And as again, all that money will go to, those children, helping those children in any way that we can. And we've got several businesses, different people that's giving us stuff that we can.
Do you
auction.
have a Facebook page or somewhere that you're advertising it?
Yes, I think it's Helping Families Initiative Coleman is what that Facebook page is.
Helping Families Initiative Coleman.
Right,
Okay.
right. And she'll post all that information there when we do that. And so that, again, the main thing is, all that goes to help those kids. And that.
Well, that's one of those that's very worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If kids aren't eating regularly, they can't pay attention.
Yeah, they're not paying
Right.
attention, and again, there's shame if it's if you don't have shoes, if all you got's flip flops, and it's 10 degrees outside. Well, you don't have an issue, or whatever it is. If you can't see, you need glasses. Whatever. If you don't have good clothes, my clothes smell bad. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff there that we try to do to anyway.
That's great.
And so that's separate. Again, now that there are, and I'm not going, there are children that have some behavioral issues, and we work with them on that, but that's a different category.
Right.
That's a different,
I've worked with some of those too, haven't you, Howard?
Yeah. Yeah. But
Many times.
Yeah. And we try to find the root, and she does, and everybody does, is that, what is that? Because that could be, it could be something,
Oh, yeah.
What that is too. So.
It stems from a lot of things.
Right.
From the businesses in Coleman, you have one there that's near and dear to their heart, Worthless Check Unit.
Right. I can speak on that a little bit. Again, Lisa Dorning in our office handles the Worthless Check Unit. The Worthless Check is obviously, not a lot of people use checks anymore. You have,
True.
Debit cards and credit card, and a lot of businesses don't take checks, but that is a service that the DA's office, we, that if it's insufficient funds or if it's on a closed account, they can come to us. We've got stickers we'll give businesses, put on your door, and that will warn people that if that is happening, so a business can call us, and we give those out. And the DA and I have stuck some on doors as we go out, and and that warns those people, hey, if I do that, you could be in trouble, with that.
Well, and I would think that a number of people who are having financial difficulties might bounce a few checks.
There's obviously,
but that would give your office an opportunity to refer them to a service that could possibly be of help to them.
Yeah, I think that there's a difference, and I won't say that can somebody do it on mistake? That's possible. I won't ever say that. That's right. But we would. But that's again, but obviously there's a difference in writing a check. If it's a closed account, then if you've closed that account. And obviously the insufficient funds is, I think, before the businesses usually come to the office, they usually give those people every opportunity that when I've talked to them is they'll usually say, I've called them, I've asked them, hey, will you pay this? Will you pay this? And they've, so I think virtually everything I know is when we have it, they know what they're doing. Is that they knew.
Most people don't bounce checks anymore because it cost them so
Yes,
much.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Obviously, I think if it's does somebody I accidentally did that, and this bill and this bill hit at the same. But again, virtually every business that I've talked to, they usually give those people every opportunity to come in and say, hey, you were eating out and we took your check and it bounced I've talked to those, but they'll say I've called them 10 times and or whatever, and so I think before it gets to us, I think that business has done everything they can to try to get with them.
I asked a business a couple of weeks ago if they took checks. Mm-hmm. He laughed.
Yeah.
I laughed.
Yeah.
I gave him my credit card. Everybody was happy.
Yeah. Most do not anymore. It's
why would you?
Yeah, and most people have debit or credit card now.
And the bank doesn't want you to use checks. They like it going by the wire. Right. Stick it in there. It goes to your account. We don't have to touch.
Yeah, I'm honest. I don't have checks. If I need checks, I have to go get some printed right quick. So. But most people have the debit, and
Right. Well, I did look up the Helping Families Initiative Coleman, and this is Child Abuse Awareness Month, and I saw that they had posted some videos on that.
Right, yeah, she's doing that. That's right. She's Courtney's very active, and we have it. And again, I've said it a little while ago is that. If you harm a child, we don't have any. I have, and I know the DA. None of us in there have. We'll do everything we can to prosecute.
I think you'd find that's basically the opinion of society.
That's right. That's right. Is that we do everything we can to hold those people accountable. And I know the sheriff's office. That's who she's got some videos with, and the Coleman Police Department. Is that child abuse and any sex crime with the child. I mean, those are just horrific. I've worked with those victims, and it is just terrible stuff. I probably can't talk much about it on the radio, but it is just terrible stuff. And that, it's just that's all I'm really. I mean, it's just terrible, evil people that do that, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. So what about the pretrial intervention program that you have going?
Right. That's PTIP. Amy Jackson handles our pretrial intervention program, the PTIP program, and that's something that the District Attorney Crocker started. And it is a pretrial intervention program with individuals to try to help those people. The best I can describe it is to, if it's it's on our website that rules that apply to that program, but it's what I would describe as if you're a first time offender, not been in trouble, or if it, something like that, is that they're going to try to help, that program's going to help them, and it can be through, making sure if there is a victim, you have to pay your victim back, through restitution, and then it can be through community service in many ways that they have them require to do community service. It can require other classes that they require you to do, but those are usually for a first time offense, and again, everybody can make a mistake, and that program is usually for those people who that can go and get some type of treatment or a counseling for their issue, and
it sounds like there's a number of drug problems that are caught that way, and
that's right.
Get intervention early.
And we usually speak to the victim if it is a victim crime, and sometimes they don't. Not every when I say a victim crime, some of them, the victim is the state of Alabama. So if you're arrested for public intoxication, for example, well, the victim in that is the state of Alabama, and it's so there wouldn't be so I wouldn't be involved in that case. So those are for cases like that where is that obviously somebody can be where you're underage drinking as an example, stuff like that. It was that's for stuff that you can talk to those kids, send them to some classes, get them some therapy if it's
and
therapy.
Intervention,
and
community
service,
just to call their attention and get their attention.
That's right.
That this is something you really need to address.
Right, and when I say kids, it don't have to be a kid. It can be somebody who's 30 or 40. It's their first time, but this is just usually something like that that's helping, trying to.
There's not an upper age on being a little bit. Slow.
So that's for that sort of thing. And again, we usually, if it is a victim crime, they'll say, hey, if there is any restitution there, they'll get with them, and we'll always make sure that's on there.
Okay. So you deal with victims of all ages.
Oh yeah. Well again, if it's the prime example would be if it's a sex crime. Obviously it would start at the police department or the sheriff's office, and then it can go up through Brooks Place, and then it can come to but when they get to us, it can be children to and elder abuse is another prime example of when we talk about we have on one end of the spectrum to the others. I have victims who of elder abuse. So yes, I have victims all in all type, and when I say crime, misdemeanor to felony, and everywhere that we talk to and we help, and again, the DA and the assistant DAs are very active. It's not just me sitting in there talking to them. I mean, I do that a lot, but when the cases, they'll come in there and talk to them, and very engaging and explaining the legal process just as much as I am, and they're in there talking to them, or I'll email them when stuff's going on, or email court. So it's very we do our we're.
Well, now, have you noticed that there's an increase in the number of elder abuse or child abuse cases recently?
I don't know. Again, I don't know that off the top of my head, so I wouldn't know that to know.
When the economy is troublesome, that tends to be one way it shows.
And it could. I just don't have that.
Most helpless are the first victims.
Right, and I agree that and a lot of times it's somebody they know. That in every situation, it's usually. A caretaker, a family member who's trying to take, it's not all the time, but obviously that is,
So this sounds like a great program. I wanted to read something you have in the pamphlet. It says victims of crimes in our community receive the support, information, and resources they need to move forward and recover from their experiences. I think that's very important because a lot of times I think, victims may think they're helpless, hopeless, and maybe they don't realize that there's someone out there like you who's helping them, fighting for them, advocating for them. Right.
Well, like I said, we're there. We can be there in this picture. We can be there in the very beginning. Sometimes it's after the sheriff's office or police department's got there, and then once we're there, it can be making sure if the case, I can talk to them. It's when I talk to them, hey, if it's counseling you're after, here's counseling services, that of ones that we're aware of, and that I make sure they have that, or and then it's also after it's over, I can't get into it much, but I told a victim the other day is, this is not something that's just, poof and gonna go away if this case is over.
Right.
This is something that could stick with you for the rest of your life, and here's counselors or therapists that you probably should talk to, and that obviously they have to choose to do that. And I said that that's so I gave that person. At
least you gave them some options.
Yeah, gave them several options that they could.
Years ago, the DA's office was only doing the law part of it. But like you're saying now, it seems like there's more understanding of it's not just what happened that's the problem. It's your response to it and how it left you.
Right.
As a victim.
Right.
So I'm glad to hear that.
They've come to see the broader definition of victim.
Right.
It hurts more than just the crime.
Right, and we talked when we have victims in the cases. If we go to, we've had several of them. They're in this book, of cases that we've had. It can be some of the convictions we've had is, rape and murders is just because the case is over. It doesn't mean the pain they have, or it's going to be over that day. It's not a wave of magic wand because that person's going to jail now. Well, that's why
the child is going to definitely
or an adult if some of these cases involves mama,
family.
Their family involves parents, so so that may have lost their child. One of them is in that book is that their parent lost a child, so that that's a terrible thing, awful, so that and that's
can't even imagine. Don't want to.
No, I sleep better not thinking of too much about it.
So on a daily basis, how many people do you deal with?
I would, some days it's a handful, and then some days, it can be, I can have 20 or 30 phone calls, and then, or not counting emails. I mean, again, it can depend. Now, if it's court, if we're having district courts, or if it's actually court, we could have, I could have, several there that day at court. So I don't know what the number would be, but again, I call through our dockets so that they're aware and tell them to come. Now, obviously, if it's a trial docket, especially in a district court, you could have 50 show up or 30.
Right.
It could have a lot there that day. So having to manage that and get that ready, and so that's
and a number of those get delayed or settled the last minute.
You're right. Yes, they could have a settlement in that case once they get there. But it's I say come to that call docket, and then if it goes on to the trial docket, then they have to come. But we stay busy, it's for sure.
Brad, we certainly appreciate you.
I enjoyed
being here.
it. Thank you for having me.
It's been fun.
Great.
We've learned a lot more.
Well,
Champ was pretty
that may be
good.
the first time anybody's ever told me that. So I'm glad.
And remember, the Helping Families Initiative Coleman is our Facebook page. There's a lot of information on there and about the upcoming fundraiser as well. So let's help out when we can and where we can.
Thank you for doing that.
And you missed another opportunity to call in.
Somebody's going to start doing that.
At some point, someone's going to have an idea about, well, why don't they do a show about that? So call us and ask us why we don't.
Yeah.
Next week, if we can get all of our little things together, we may talk about what are the boundaries of the city of Coleman.
Which kind of boundaries?
Well, I guess it would depend on which politician you talk to.
Okay, so we're talking about political boundaries and
actually geographic boundaries according to political thoughts.
And what direction the growth is going to come in.
And who gave them the right to do that. And we might ask the question, I wonder why he really resigned.
Somebody might have to educate me. I thought if you were going to annex something in, it had to be like adjacent, but I guess not.
Well, they're saying it doesn't.
No.
I don't know.
But is it an annexation or is it a special district?
Sounds like theft to me.
A lot like it.
I'm Howard Rogers.
We're all special.
I'm Richard Morris.
And Beverly Little. Thank you for joining us today, and have a great week.
Y'all stay tuned. Path Changers, Habits of Health is up next after the Alabama Regional Network News.
Thanks for listening to Coleman's Live 95. It's time now to check our regional news from the Alabama Radio Network.